So you're thinking about trademark licensing a brand. Well, let's talk about that. You have plenty of brands to choose from. There's no doubt about that. The consumer goods section, look at all the different options. If you're in the esports world, you have many brand collaborations and licensing opportunities that you can pursue. Hey, if your product is in the traditional toy sector, just Mattel alone is going to give you lots of different options. So all of these options may seem exciting as far as just being able to put a brand to your product, but the reality is that this is where you're going to end up. You're going to end up at the conference room table of the licensing agent or the licensor. And they're going to be sitting there and they're going to be drilling you about your plan, about your strategy, about your vision, about the financials. And the reality is that you better be ready for that moment. Because if you're sitting there at that conference room table and you don't have your answers and you don't have that direction and that gut feeling of what you're doing, then you're not going to get the brand. And that's the difference between getting a Fortune 500 brand and companies that don't get it. Therefore, what I've done is I've created a 12 milestone step process. Each course of these 12 steps will result in one section of the business plan being completed, so that at the end of the entire coursework, you're going to have your brand licensing business plan ready to be presented to licensors. So what do these milestones entail? Well, first off is I'm going to make sure in milestone 0 that I'm going to question whether you actually want to do this or not, and you're doing it for the right reasons. In milestone 1, we're going to define your brand licensing end goal. In milestone 2, we're going to create a confidential internal checklist, which will be the basis for a lot of strategy points. Milestone 3 is we're going to use those strategy points by creating the strategy. Milestone 4, we're going to prospect licensors. Milestone 5, we're going to understand how to start the application process properly. Milestone 6, we're going to design the products according to the contractual agreements. Milestone 7, we're going to review your sales projections and understand the tips and tricks involved from licensors when it comes to this. Milestone 8 is going to be a review of royalty rates and annual minimum guarantees and making sure that you understand what they are. Milestone 9 is the marketing plan. Milestone 10 are the legal and financial expectations. Milestone 11 is going to be the tips and tricks for negotiating that contract. And finally, in Milestone 12, it's the onboarding and the ongoing expectations. As far as my personal experience, I've got 18 years of experience dealing with Fortune 500 manufacturers as a licensee. Therefore, I've been through the ringer, I've been thrown in the fire, I've been through all these different experiences, and every time I told myself, boy, I wish I would have known that. So here I am, after 18 years, I've gathered all these tips and tricks, and I'm now prepared to unleash them, starting with milestone 0. So if you're ready to go, come join me.